How you guys doing? Coach Kyle Brown here, celebrity fitness nutrition coach and CEO of Fit 365 Shakes. Want to talk to you today about 5 tips to break through that sugar addiction. Now, Halloween coming up, this being Halloween weekend, I know a lot of people are really a little bit worried about the fact that they could put on 5 pounds in the blink of an eye. Or that they may fall off the wagon and get completely drawn into that trick-or-treat Halloween sugar addiction time. So, they say the idea that when life gives you lemons that you want to make some lemonade. I'm a little bit more of the mindset that says when life gives you lemons, throw it back and ask for some chocolate. You see, I'm not against eating candy or chocolate at all. The rumor has it that my last name, Brown, actually stems from the concept that my ancestors were huge fans of brownies, and that's been passed on through my DNA generation after generation. So it's something that we're stuck with and that we're dealing with, but I think at the end of the day we can handle it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a little bit of indulgence. It's about finding a way to make it work for you. So what you need to really be aware of is that sugar addiction is completely different. It's finally becoming aware that, okay, sugar is the devil. There's a lot wrong with processed sugar. And what we're realizing is that sugar stimulates the same pleasure centers in the brain as cocaine and heroin. It is not as addictive as cocaine and heroin. I've never seen a sugar junkie on the side of the road, but I guess you'll see a lot of them over trick-or-treat time. What I do want you to think about is that sugar does activate those same pleasure centers. It is an addictive drug, and the more you start looking at sugar as a drug, as a real monster you need to keep an eye out, being that monster in the cupboard versus the monster underneath your bed, the better chance you have of getting where you want, because at the end of the day, sugar is going to make you what? Fat, sick, and tired. So be really well aware that sugar has that incredible effect on you. So a lot of people are like, well, my problem is I'm totally dialed in on my food all day long. I'm go, go, go. I move. And at the end of the day, I get home. And that last 5% of my day, that's when the sugar monster comes out. And I just start mowing down on sweets, and I can't contain myself. So I want to dig into those 5 tips. The first thing you want to do is, throughout your day, we need to detox you from sugar. So I want you to look at those hidden sugars. That's the first thing I want you to look at. You will be blown away that the Western palate is sweet and salty. Eastern palate, you have things like pungent, spicy, umami, like just very different flavors between Western and Eastern. So I want you to really be aware that since our palate is designed for sweet and salt addiction, the food manufacturers know that. And there's hidden sugars in things like your ketchup, your pickles, your deli meat, your potato chips. Really unique sources that are completely different than what you're expecting. You're like, why would they add sweet to deli meat? Because it's addictive. It's going to sell more. They know what they're doing. The second thing that I want you to think about, it's called PICA, or PICA, is mineral deficiencies. One of the biggest reasons why people have these sugar cravings is because they have incredibly strong mineral deficiencies. So what are these mineral deficiencies? Well, they could be iron, they could be zinc, they could be magnesium. Magnesium deficiency is heavily linked to chocolate cravings. So if you're somebody who just can't stop eating chocolate, make sure that you're taking magnesium. I like to take magnesium with zinc at night before I go to bed to get that really deep sleep, feel really good, and it really will help with those sugar cravings. Another thing that you can take is glutamine. Glutamine is awesome for muscle soreness, but it's also fantastic for sugar cravings constantly throughout the day. And it has that side benefit, not side effect, side benefit of really healing your gut. You can take a little bit of glutamine in between each meal that has an incredible healing effect. Third thing that you're going to want to look at, natural substitutes. When you take something away, replace it with something. That's a really good philosophy. Rather than I can't have this, it's I can have this. Does that make sense? What can I have? So one example is erythritol, an organic non-GMO erythritol. It's found in fruits and vegetables, good healthy supplements. Bringing you back over to brands, and I can see here asking about some good brands for supplements for zinc and magnesium. I think a really good substitute for zinc magnesium now has some pretty good stuff. Now, bringing you back to the good, healthy, natural substitutes for sweeteners, you have an organic non-GMO erythritol, good, healthy, natural sweetener found in fruits and vegetables. You've got monk fruit, it's been utilized forever. Both of those have been used for, erythritol since the 1900s, monk fruit for centuries. Stevia, but it's really got that bitter aftertaste. It's very hard to find things for stevia. One of the only things I'll put stevia in is coffee because it's already bitter. So realize that most stevia is actually not a really good call for multiple reasons. One of them being is that organic stevia is incredibly bitter. This Reb A or Reb B that they're using now is so heavily processed, it's very far from actual stevia and the stevia leaf, which has that bitter aftertaste. So if you're having a stevia product that's eliminated all of the bitter, it's because they've used a really heavily processed version of it. So it's probably going to have an aftertaste. Another thing you can do is really small doses of fruit. So maybe use a little bit of berries, maybe use another one of those low glycemic fruits. You can throw a little bit of banana in there with things and use that as your flavor marker. You don't need much sweet, even just a little bit of honey to go a long way. Mind-blowing the effects that it will have on it and be able to keep away from that effect. Now remember, Splenda, sucralose, is not a healthy natural sweetener. It's an artificial sweetener, and luckily that's starting to come a little bit more into mainstream. Last tip, what I want you to focus on is out of sight, out of mind. Most people don't understand that if they don't view this stuff as drugs, they won't take the same precautions. So an alcoholic is not going to have all of his favorite drinks sitting around right on the table in front of him. You know that. And a lot of people will say, well, it's moderation, and you have the little jar there and you take just one. Well, that is actually a behavior issue based on your DNA and your own unique individual psychology. Somebody who is an all or nothing person, that does not make them a weaker person. That makes them somebody with a different personality type. So they may not work really well in an environment of having just one little bite and take one every day. I'm one of those people. There's no way that I could just take one little piece of candy. Not happening. Not at all. That's like playing a basketball game and taking one shot. I'm not going to do that. I won't be happy. If I'm going to get in that game, I'm going to give it my all. Same thing, you put a plate of brownies in front of me. I'm not going to take one bite. I'm going to down those brownies. So you have to realize, based on your personality type, what works for you. And if it has to become a chore to go get that sweet, you're going to do a lot better with it. So make it something like, for me, it's ice cream. If I'm going to go have ice cream, I'm going to plan it. And if I'm getting a craving for ice cream, I'm going to hop in my car and I'm going to have to drive. I'm not going to walk 3 steps, grab it, and take it. And that transfers over to a lot of society. The easier something is to get, the less we appreciate it and the more we can become addicted to it. So if it's something you have to really work to get, the chances are by the time you actually throw in your car clothes on, hopped in the car, driven over to the ice cream place, you're probably not going to do it. Or you're less likely. I hope this helps. Realize that right now, the last thing is, besides these 5 tips to balance out the addiction, is if you mess up and over Halloween time have a little bit of candy, the worst thing you can do is beat yourself up. When you put yourself into that low vibe of shame and guilt and, regret acting as if you had just robbed a bank because all you did is had a couple bites of candy, that's the worst thing. That just means you have no control over your mind. There's a difference between having control and being perfect. Perfect is the enemy of good. We aren't looking for perfect. Enjoy a little bit of candy on Halloween. I will. And I think you should too. And I think you should just find something that's more decadent. Go with quality over quantity. And if you do that, I think you'll be a lot happier. And if you plan a little indulgence, or if you slip up a little bit, congratulations, you're having a human experience. And if you don't slip up and you're absolutely perfect, cool. That's great for you as well. But neither way are you going to get a trophy. And if you are getting a trophy, it's a false trophy, because it's not going to bring fulfillment. The true fulfillment is going to come from doing things right. And if you're going to do it, yes, definitely go over to Chef Anna's place, order some awesome candy apples. They're incredible from the Enchanted Sweet Shop. I will plug your stuff all day, Anna, because it is unbelievable, good quality stuff. So make sure that you're choosing good quality, decadent stuff. I hope this helps. Take care.